Slingshots, and I love Slingshots. So I thought a good way to, we've got a lot of knowledge together here in this room tonight, and a lot of people coming to the tournament that love Slingshots as much as we all do, and I think we all have this inner fire that burns with rubber and steel and fork sticks. So why not take advantage of this opportunity to put it on video? But so we're going to have 2 roundtable talks. Tonight is going to be Slingshot Craft. So I'd asked a lot of slingshot makers to be here. Right now it's Gary and I. We're both doing it semi-professionally or professionally. But we all, I think, enjoy making slingshots and very much enjoy shooting them. So tonight we're going to open it up for any questions you have about the art of slingshot craft, bands, pouches, anything related to making your own slingshots. So anything's on the table. And I'd like to keep it informal. Just if you have information to share, just share it. Let's not have a free-for-all, but I'll do my best to moderate it. But the idea here is if you've got something on your mind, how do I do this? How do I get around this challenge? Why does a slingshot fork shoot one way better than another? I think we've probably got answers in this room. We've got Mr. Blue Skeen here tonight, who's got more knowledge than all of us combined in 3 lifetimes. And that combined with Gary is like 15 lifetimes. So I think we've got the answers here this evening. So we'll start it off. If anyone's got a question, fire away. All right, Crazy Mike.
Pouch leather. Kangaroo pouch leather is, I think, the best. I really do. I messed around with a lot of leather, but kind of leaning towards kangaroo leather. And it is hard to get a hold of, and it is expensive. It is expensive.
Does it last long?
Talk about that kangaroo leather. I got acquainted with a guy from Australia. He worked in New York. Got a little bit of kangaroo leather. My buddy and I ordered a hide. It was $160-something, but it's good leather. And also got some tan deer hide. Makes awful good pouches.
Now, Blue, do you know if it was vegetable tanned or chrome tanned?
I don't know. I think it's chrome tan. I'm not sure.
Now, I've heard some various opinions, especially on kangaroo, that vegetable versus chrome, that I think chrome is the preferred.
That's what I do.
And then also I think on kangaroo, I've not bought any kangaroo, but I know from where you take it on the hide, the belly hide is not suitable, even if it's chrome tanned. Is that correct?
I think it's too thin on most things. Most
too much stretch.
Most hides, yeah. I think it's too thin. You want your rump back. The heavier leather.
Yeah, I wish Ray was here. Ray's been working a lot with kangaroo leather and bonding it to pig leather and other various leathers.
The Blue, you sent me some, the Blue Skeen, you sent me some horsehide one time.
Yeah?
It was a little too thick. I tried hammering it out to try to thin it. That stuff looked serious, but it was a little bit too thick. I couldn't get anything going on it. But I think you gave me some pouches that were thick stuff, strong, big time strong.
I had a buddy who had a shoe shop, and I took some of the horsehide down and got him to thin it down for me.
Yeah, that stuff, that was really strong.
It was good leather.
Yeah, and the Cordova, that comes from, I think, the back of the horse.
Yeah.
Very good, but very high. Very, very expensive. Way too heavy for me, man. Stylish, though.
Well, one place I found that leather to be cheapest is used penny loafers at Goodwill stores or thrift shops.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And when you look underneath the tongue, if it is Cordovan leather, it'll say Cordovan leather. It'll always be the part that comes across the top of your toe, and on the top of your foot, it's the tongue. That's the right thickness. But I did buy a pair one time that said Cordovan leather, and it tore just like cowhide. So
Yeah, it's going to be heavy enough.
So
That's like same with kangaroo. I bought a piece of kangaroo, just too thin. But then, like you said, you could laminate and put it together, and it'll work out good. But,
I like the deer hide as well as the kangaroo. I've had them both.
I like pigskin.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about pigskin?
I like pigskin.
Pigskin's
I like
good.
pigskin. Like
the day hacker's been using a lot of goat.
Pigskin's good.
He sent me some goat pouches, and they were really nice.
You sent me a
You
couple
got to
of
get a high quality football.
couple of them laminated,
Yeah.
but I think it was his early first attempt at it, so it was
Get these
He sent me some
for the
single goat
wilderness
hide
use.
pouches. They were really light.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
something
the
really nice.
welder's
I use
apron.
those. That's good leather.
Welder's apron.
All right, Mike, that work for you?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Floor is open.
I want to know how the heck you make a leather slingshot.
All right.
That's number one. I mean, that is the most amazing piece of work I've ever seen, and I don't want no trade secrets or anything.
It's not a trade secret.
Yeah, I didn't, you know.
So I learned it from bow makers. So a lot of traditional bow makers, when they make laminated bows that don't involve fiberglass. There's one in particular, Dwyer longbows. Carl Dwyer, I think, or Dyer? No, Dwyer. Anyway, he would build his shelves up, and he would use like 12-ounce saddle leather, laminate it together with Barge's hide cement, and do it under pressure. So you had a good thick chunk. Then he'd impregnate the whole thing with CA glue, with the thinnest CA glue he could. And that would basically make a wooden laminate. And at that point, you can shape it with rasps and files. It doesn't peel. So the way I did my leather slingshots, I did a core, a solid core. Then I laminated multiple layers of saddle leather on either side, and I used two different kinds of glues. One is Urac 85, which is a powder, and it's got another name. It'll come to me. It's used for bonding woods. It's used a lot in, I think, building pianos, for anything that's a wood that's going to bend a lot and it'll be locked in place. But you mix it with water, and it's bomber stuff. But I would mix all that together, smash it together. Then I started using polyurethane glue, just Gorilla Glue. And what I'd do there is I'd saturate the leather, squeeze it all out before I started to laminate, so the leather was very, very wet. And polyurethane glue is activated by moisture. It's hydrophilic. And mash it all together, do a good coating on either surface, and then bond it all together, and then just cut it out like I would any other laminate. But once I got the slingshot cut out, then I would soak the whole thing and just gobs and gobs of the cheapest super glue I could find. And I'd buy it from Harbor Freight. It's like 3 packs, 3 little tubes for $1.50. And I just pour it on there until it wouldn't soak up anymore. Then once it's set up, then you can shape it, do all your shaping, and then it polishes just like wood from there out. And that's it. And that's how bow makers make risers built into the shelf.
Very cool. It really is.
That's
Heck of a
tough.
concept.
And it takes fork tips really well.
You hear a lot about people that can't afford to buy tools for making slingshots and stuff. You mentioned Harbor Freight. That place is amazing.
It's the best.
I was there the other day. I forget what I was picking up, but they had a set of drum sanders that were going to drill press or on a hand drill, and it was like less than $10, and it was 3 different or 4 different sizes. You had to use the sleeves with them. They weren't the type. I purchased one a while back that actually has a slit and a key in it that you can lock in, and you can cut sheet paper, so it's a little less expensive that way. But for shaping and forming, if you don't have a router, it's great work.
Yeah, and going back to like cheap tools for shaping slingshots, one that I use daily, and I learned this from a bow maker as well, is just don't skimp on your abrasives. Buy quality abrasives, because when you buy cheap abrasives, they wear out really quickly, they clog up quickly, and it just pisses you off, and you wind up using more than you would if you bought a quality abrasive. So get the best abrasives you can afford, and use paper-backed abrasives. You can get like the J-Wade cloth-back stuff. You're going to pay for it. It is convenient. But just take duct tape and lay your sheet out and put several strips of duct tape down the back of it, then cut off strips of duct tape back sandpaper, and then you can work it just like emery cloth. So you can start with like a 60 grit sandpaper backed and duct tape. Use small strips to go around small contours, lock your slingshot in a vise, and just go back and forth and just carve it in. And you can take that all the way up to your finishing grits, and you won't destroy your contours.
How high of a grit do you go?
That's contentious.
You want to see yourself in it?
Contentious waters right now. I started, Day Hiker got all 220 on everybody. So, we're all here, but the trophies over there, the trophies, I only took the 220 because that's a Day Hiker design. I took them to 220, put their finish on them, but then I put them on a Tripoli wheel, white diamond wheel, and finally carnauba wax. So they look like they're taken up to 1,000 grit, but the actual wood has only gone to 220, but it's a consistent 220. And I think a lot of people don't give 220 credit, because if you take 220 as far as it'll go and work with the grain, that is a pretty fine finish. But for the last 6 months, I've always taken my slingshots to 400. But I don't think it's necessary, especially if you're using a surface finish.
Yeah.
Fork height, like there's a lot of people, they want to, how high to make the forks, I see a lot of slingshots, they got real high forks, low forks, and it depends where you hold it, I know that, but a lot of people were arguing over fork height.
I think it depends upon the attachment. Like if you're going through the throat, you want it deep and pretty wide, through the throat attachment. because obviously you know, you give room for the pouch. If you're going over the top, you know, if you use a lot of tubes because they have a lot of spring in them, a lot of bounce, you could go with a lower clearance. Like you look at that little, what do you call it, the
Pickle fork.
Pickle fork. I mean, there's no throat on that. Just flick it right over the throat. But that's the rule of thumb I usually use. You know, if you're going through the throat, wide, deep, over the top, then you go low.
Okay.
That's the way I always look at it.
So T, you could go low.
Yeah.
To nothing.
To me,
You could go nothing.
I like to keep the finger braces, if you're going to brace the slingshot, as high up as possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's as close if you can get as top as you can. That's it. Yeah, that's the way. I mean, you know, some people like them lower. I like them all the way up high. You know.
Well, you being an archer, Mike.
Yeah, I want to get my
want it on
ammo as close to my hand as possible.
Exactly, me too.
Yeah.
So Blue's just the other side of that spectrum. He likes a higher prong.
Yeah, he likes the high one. Yeah.
But that's just what he's used to, I guess.
But he's the best.
Yeah.
The way he's shooting now, yeah, man, he's really cooking away.
I like the prongs a little taller
Yeah.
than most people do. But that's just how I learned how to shoot, and that's the way I shoot today. Except on them, I call them the long toms. Marksman made one. I liked it, and we copied that and made our own long tom, and I shoot them right now better than any other slingshot.
But even so, that long tom's a pretty low fork.
Yeah, pretty close.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And I think
Trial and error with it. You got to.
my personal opinion on it is
I have a Falcon 2 slingshot, and it's too wide. I close them up, and that helped me with my accuracy.
I kind of thought years ago too, when I first started, kind of like a rifle. I always thought like a rifle when it was the longer the barrel, or the longer the better the accuracy. So I figured if the throat was really tight, this is the way I thought. I since found out I don't think it's right, but if the throat was really narrow, it would keep the bands closer together for a longer period of time and keep the back. This is the way I do it. Not realizing that you still need room to open the pouch. You're still going to get some slap going through. But this, you know, this is the way I do it. But I think since not too wide, not too narrow. This is a happy medium. I think maybe a little bit bigger than the pouch or a little bit smaller than the pouch. That's fine because we've seen high-speed camera shots. We used to think that the ball opened up before it hit the fork, but we've seen like George Spraub, the German guy. He took many high-speed shots, and you can see where the pouch opens up after the fork, and then it would come right out. You know, which is a good thing to know because you can keep the forks narrow. You can keep the forks narrower than we absolutely thought. You know, but I thought it was like keep it as narrow as you could, but I don't think so. I don't think because I've seen all kinds of different forks, wide, thin. It's just a guy that's shooting it, man.